Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of What the Fitness. Today, we will be talking about fats. All right, we'll talk about the myths, the two types, and the benefits. Okay, so I know when it comes to fat, people tend to avoid them, the misconception that they have towards fat itself. So let's uh let's before we dive into it, if you all have any questions regarding fat itself, just put it in the comments and we will answer them right away. If not later on, okay? So I think with fat, okay? At 9 calories per gram, fat is the densest macronutrient in our diet. And this has made it a victim of constant bashing and demonization in the nutrition and dieting world. However, studies and experience have shown that this macronutrient, fats, has been highly misunderstood and can actually aid in weight loss and performance goals. Okay, now just like carbohydrates, what we talked about last week, okay? Just like carbohydrates, you shouldn't fear fats, all right? As it turns out, fats are essential to several bodily functions. So without fats, cell membranes would not be able to maintain their integrity. Fat is also vital to creating many hormones. And to top it off, the human brain is about 60% fat. Well, those sound like pretty important reasons why fat is so important for human life in general. Having said that, there's a lot of confusion out there around how fat actually works. And there are still some pervasive myths about fats going around. Come on, we live in 2022, okay? Now, for example, many believe that separating carbohydrates and fats in your meals is better. Okay, you might hear a fit pro advocating for protein plus fat meals in the morning and then transitioning to protein plus carb meals in the evening in conjunction with the training window. The thinking goes that if we control insulin while the body is exposed to fat, our adipose tissue won't be triggered to store that fat. Now, it seems reasonable on the surface, but if it falls apart, you will look at how metabolism works. Now, let's consider an extreme example. Let's say, let's say you eat 100% of your carbs and fat for the day in one sitting. Theoretically, you should store the fat in adipose tissue because you're spiking insulin by taking in carbs. You will store more fat, but this is not the end of the metabolic story. Now, what happens if you continue throughout your day? Well, eventually you definitely run out of glucose from the carbohydrates. Now what? Well, over the rest of the day, you end up burning quite a bit of stored fat because you're not eating any fats or carbohydrates. You're always storing fat. You're also always burning fat. Now, the net storage or deposition of fat will come down to your calorie balance for the day. This idea that you shouldn't eat carbs and fat simultaneously leads to another myth that, if taken seriously, can be pretty disastrous for anyone looking to lose body fat, right? Many people believe that you can't store fat if you don't trigger insulin release. It's not hard to see how people might come to this conclusion, all right? Insulin is an energy storage signaling hormone. All right. And if you put insulin, free fatty acids, and adipose together, the adipose is going to take up and store quite a bit of fatty acids. Now, the problem with this idea is that it takes the storage function of insulin too far. Just because insulin can accelerate fatty acid storage into adipose under the right circumstances, it doesn't mean that you can't store fat in its absence. Your body can still store fat even if your carb intake is zero. It doesn't require insulin in order to be able to deposit fats into adipose tissue. Many people who believe strongly in the ketogenic as the best way to lose fat get caught up in this myth. All right. I know some of you are doing keto, but Again, I'm coming from a neutral ground, all right? So when you're on keto, you burn a lot of fat. That's true because you're eating a lot of fat. But what happens when you take in more fat than you need? You don't burn it, you store it. Yes, you certainly can get fat from keto, all right? So the critical thing to remember is that fats are a tool, just like carbohydrates, right? Just like what we talked about last week. They're an energy source that you can manipulate to get specific body composition outcomes with yourself. So I want you all to remember that fat isn't evil. You need it to survive, but it isn't magical either. Okay? Now, that was the myth. Again, if you have anything to add on, just put in the comments. Now, let's move on to the two types of fat source. To understand the roles that fat plays in a healthy diet, you have to look closer at the two types of dietary fats, saturated and unsaturated. Okay? Saturated fat. This is the so-called bad fat, right? It's primarily found in primarily found in animal products such as beef, pork, high-fat dairy foods like butter, margarine, cream, and cheese. And high amounts of saturated fat also are found in many fast processed and baked foods like pizza, desserts, hamburgers, and cookies and pastries. These fats tend to be more solid. Think butter or lard, than healthier fats. Now, the other type would be the unsaturated fat. Okay, this is the healthy kind, and there are two types of unsaturated fat. You got the monounsaturated and the polyunsaturated. The monosaturated fats are found in avocados and peanut butters, nuts like almonds, hazelnuts, cashews, and pecan. You can also find them in seeds such as pumpkin, sesame, or sunflower seeds. Okay, it is definitely also in some sort of plant oils such as olive oil, peanut oil, sesame oil, sunflower oil, canola oils. Okay, now polyunsaturated fats includes omega-3 fatty acids and omega-6. Okay, polyunsaturated fats are found in plant-based oils. Okay, and they are also abundantly found in walnuts, sunflower seeds, like I mentioned earlier, and fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, or trout. Okay, the main health issue with dietary fats is how they influence our cholesterol levels, right? Consuming high amounts of saturated fat produces more LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, which can form plaque in the arteries and increase your risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke. Okay, now again, if you have any question regarding that, you can just put it in the comments and we'll get back to you. All right, then we're going to move on to the benefits. All right, the first benefit when it comes to including fat source into your diet is that it is proven to improve your heart health. It's like, yeah, healthy unsaturated fats can help to lower your cholesterol levels, decreasing the risk for heart disease, while unhealthy fats increases your risk for heart disease. So one type of unsaturated fat that is important to boost your heart health is omega-3 fatty acids. Okay, benefit number 2, fat is used to fuel your body, right? Healthy fats gives us energy, something that we all need when we begin to feel tired and sluggish throughout the day. Fats are at the top of the chain when it comes to energy efficiency. Okay, it's even more than protein and carbohydrates. Okay, now benefit number 3, right? It helps us to boost our brain health. All right, we need fats to obtain brain power. Right, fats help us to boost our learning and memory skills, which are integral components of our day-to-day functioning. Okay, one of the most well-known healthy fat that fuels our brain are omega-3 fatty acids that's found in avocados, flax seeds, or salmon, right? So this is just a simple take on fats that I am sharing with all of you. But if you have anything more that you want to share, or if you have any question at all, feel free to just drop it in the comments and we will get back to you. All right, that's all from me today. Thank you for watching, guys. See you all soon.